let me explain something to you. Talking about the DTF, we're gonna be very short, brief with this. First and foremost, prayers up for Brother Ernest and his family, and on the doctors, man. You know, praying for healing hands, the doctors and surgeons and those that's giving diagnosis and issuing medicines and all of that. You know, just through the whole process, man. That he has he gets through this thing, man, and gets on the other side of this thing, and has a speedy recovery. With that said, a lot of us have seen what Brother Ernest was saying, but a lot of us don't. A lot of us are misinterpreting. For me, I'm thinking that they're misinterpreting what he's saying. I know at one point he said it's not much the pressing of it. It's but when you have like the desktop machines and you're you cycling that dust back and forth, you could be inhaling that powder. And it's not even just that. You know what you also do? And a lot of people can't because they ain't doing this. But what you also do is you take the sheet and then you thump. You be thumping that dust. You thump the back of that sheet, and those particles are flying. Those particles are flying everywhere. Somebody's calling. Those particles are flying everywhere. But he's saying you're breathing in those particles of that dust. All right, that powder. And some of us, there's been fine. There's people who have finer powders than other people. I think the finer the powder, the better. I'm thinking that a lot of people start suggesting. If you go back to my very first couple videos, I was doing DTF over 3 years ago, and I'm sure it was out well before that, and there was very few people that was talking about DTF in the States. Very few. When I ordered my machine, I was watching videos from people overseas. All right, from East Indians into Asians. Them the videos that I was watching. Watching them convert those machines. And then, Joker started selling them, and I seen, I caught some on Alibaba, whatever, that L1800. That was one of the first ones that was really just sold heavily. It still is, really. I tell you, stay away from. I've been told y'all stay away from those desktops. But Brother Ernest was in it already. He was heavily in it already. He had already started him and not DTF Superstore. They wasn't even there yet. It was like an East Indian brother, man. It's DTF something. DTF store or something like that. DTF something. He was selling the printers. So he was one of the first. Him and Brother Ernest kind of like pioneers far as YouTube goes and manufacturing and shipping these things out, getting containers of these printers overseas to the States. Okay, before there was a DTF Superstore, there was DTF something, bro. I forgot this brother name, and apologies. And Brother Ernest. All right, well, people were getting those printers here. Besides you getting it from Alibaba and dealing with what's the brother name? Sky Wang. All right, he was pretty much Sky Wang, man. Like, if you're not a millionaire, brother, if you're not a millionaire, if you're not wealthy over there in China, brother, I know you did a lot of work, man. I'm talking about maybe hundreds of thousands of printers. This man has touched and been called for technical support. But with all that being said, a lot of these influencers a lot of these major companies, they knew nothing about these, DTF. And reality too is that they really didn't get into it till these commercial machines. You know what I'm saying? Really jumped off. Even my brother named Big Boy Prince. Big Boy Prince jumped out there early, kind of early. It was out there by then, but it was still a heavy amount of just you converting your printer. And he was converting printers and jumped out there and started providing products. Still out there. But I don't know if he ever jumped into the shaker game. I haven't been watching him lately. I don't know if he jumped into that whole shaker game and that whole now. But again, one that, printers that you had to apply the powder yourself and then kind of move it around and then dump the excess powder out. When you thumping that powder is floating in the air and you're breathing in that powder. Much as like somebody who's spray painting, not spray painting, but spray painting or just painting with the air gun. You painting the walls and stuff. Even when you have the mask on, you can still see the fumes that done painted your nostril. And that DTF powder is made of one of the main ingredients is thermopolyurethane. So you just have to look that up. If you don't believe Brother Ernest's story, or you have any doubts and you're saying, well, I don't need to wear no mask, or you're not taking certain precautions, and I'm gonna talk about the precautions that people were saying at first. But yeah, if you don't believe his story, just look up polyurethane, thermopolyurethane. Does that cause cancer? And you'll get your answer. You'll get your answer. And I'm sure thermopolyurethane or polyurethane is in a lot of products dealing with this industry. But like he was saying, it's not necessarily the fact that you're, the fumes of it, that is a case too, but just that you actually inhaling the powder, and the powder is getting inside of your lungs and mushing up and causing problems. So you shouldn't be, if you're doing that and you're still shaking your powder yourself and you're thumping that thing and doing all of that stuff, anybody that's around that is probably inhaling that dust, that powder that's flocking out. If you got a commercial machine that has a shaker on it, you really have to worry about it only when you're putting powder in, because most of them have a lid. And I think, from henceforth, since these things are out, you just putting a rubber seal around that lid, making sure none of that powder escapes while it's shaking back and forth. And when you have to deal with that powder, you need to take precautions and wear something where you make sure that you're not inhaling it when you're going back and forth, or you have to open that tray up where that powder is at. But while that powder is shaking in there and it's shaking, it's thumping everywhere, you need to make sure that lid is closed. Or if it don't have a lid on it, you need to be trying to make some kind of fiberglass lid and put in some clamps on the end of it and clamping it down to that machine and making you a lid yourself. That's all they gonna do. You know what I'm saying? You get somebody to laser cut you a fiberglass lid to put on there, get them the measurements, and put some clamps in it and clamp it down, make it like a little door. Boom, boom. And maybe put your knob on it. But when these machines first came out, all right, people like my brother, I love my brother, Stan the man. But a lot of the influencers hated DTF. All right, and when the people who were giving you the machines, they were telling you, that you need to wear a mask when dealing with this stuff. you know, that those precautions, those, you know, that stuff was out there. I'm telling you, take the precautions. It was out there. And, you know, if 3-4 years ago, what was going on? You know, so the masks and all of this stuff was going everywhere. But, you know, when you hear this stuff, you never, you know, it's like smoking cigarettes. Yeah, it tell you it causes cancer on the package, but you never thinking that it's gonna hit you, you know. And it's kind of one of those things, like, you know, smoking is bad, but, and if you smoking and you messing with that powder, you know. But anyway, I remember, you know, Stan was, I watched his video. He was saying about, he was like, oh man, I hate that smell, man. That smell, you know something wrong. You know what I'm saying? And, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't a warning to, his thing was, he was selling super color. All right. And DTF was a major op. It was a major opposition to Supercolor. And Supercolor probably has lost millions and millions and millions of dollars because these DTF printers are everywhere now. And so, him being the influencer for Supercolor, he got DTF. He initially was dealing with DTF. Not optimistic about it, but DTF was a problem for him and the company that he was marketing, and so they talked down upon it. And he went everywhere he could go to talk down upon it. And then he eventually went to Brother Ernest, and Brother Ernest is a realist, man. He gonna tell you, hey, listen, these machines ain't for everybody. You gotta know. He was telling you, man, these machines are problematic. If you're not willing to tinker with these machines, you're not willing to do this and that, woody-woo, that he's not even gonna sell you the machine. All right, he's not even gonna sell you the machine. And so, you know, Stan went over there, took that as an example to use. Like, hey man, you see, these machines ain't for everybody. You shouldn't be buying. So he was against DTF, and you know, once that little situation fell out and another situation fell out, he is an opponent. You know, he's not an opponent, but he is, you know, he's for DTF now. You know what I'm saying? Even when he was telling the story, he was pressing the DTFs with no mask on. Like, yeah, I'm going to keep on pressing them. You just got to risk it out. But, you know, some things are just content. I think the main issue is, I think you should take precautions anyway. Go and get you a little mask, get you something. If you don't feel like wearing no heavy duty mask, if you dealing with that powder, you need to, man, I believe you, like, you need, if you're manufacturing transfers and dealing with that powder, you need to mask up, because it's just logic. It's just logical. This ain't just like the Brother Ernest was explaining it, like asbestos. That stuff, once you shake that stuff and it get airborne, like, you gotta have a suit to deal with that kind of mold. You can't just go in there and deal with that mold. If you get in there and it gets inside your lungs, you through. You know what I'm saying? It gets airborne. As soon as you touch it, it gets airborne and you gonna breathe it in. So you have to have a whole suit on when you're dealing with that kind of mold. And I feel like that's the same logic and methodology with the DTF powder, is that if you throwing that powder around and it's shaking in there, that stuff flying all over the place. You can't see it, but it's flying all over the place. You over there looking in there, and it's so much. It's only so much that your lungs gonna be able to take. And like he say, when that stuff get into moist areas, it turn into gook, and that stuff will be inside of you. And you be trying to cough that stuff, or your body trying to adapt with it, but it's chemicals. All right. And that chemicals can't get inside of you. Okay. It's a chemical, and you're pretty much inhaling this chemical when you're dealing with that powder. And so you definitely need to take precautions. Don't, you know, you got to weigh the risk, and you got to weigh no risk. You need to take precaution if you're dealing with that powder. and you need to put on a little mask. You may not have to put on the heavy duty. It just depends on, you know, how safe you want to play it. But I suggest a little mask when you pressing even your transfers. And like I said, that polyurethane is in a whole bunch of things, but and it does cause cancer. So you know, take precaution. And you have a testimony. I don't know how many more testimonies y'all brothers and sisters need, but if you have a testimony and brother is saying this and that's what it was, and this brother makes his living off of DTF prints, why he just gonna come against the industry? He sells printers. All right, he sells the printers. Why is he gonna come against the industry if he feels like that's not what happened? So I know we gotta make money. We all gotta make money, and I'm still gonna use DTF. Definitely, I'm finna order some from overseas, but I ain't finna cook them. And I would cook them though. You know, I would cook them if it was worth. For me, if it was worth it, and I had the Clio, and I was pushing, yeah, I would cook them, but I wouldn't cook them like Stan was saying, not to be cooking them in your house, and making sure you take, you know, these precautions, not to be around there once that powder starts floating around, or if that powder's open. You make sure you have that area covered, and you definitely shouldn't be, if you still doing that with that powder, you need to have on a heavy duty mask. All right, because you're doing that, you're right next to the powder, and then you start thumping it, boom 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 boom, stumping it in your face, and you end up inhaling that thing. So it's an issue, but I think it's an easy fix. All right, it's an issue, but the issue is not the chemical itself. It's just you can't be ingesting it. It's just like drinking bleach. You can't drink bleach. You know what I'm saying? Bleach ain't the issue. It ain't that people gonna stop using bleach. You know, even if you're dealing with fumes and stuff, and bleach and pneumonia, and you mess around and pass out, or, you know, hurt yourself, or, you know, hitting your head on something, you could die. The chemicals aren't the problem. It's you inhaling and digesting these chemicals, which is the issue, and that's what has to be addressed, and has to be you know, the methodology for fixing that. You know, you have to address that. You have to come at addressing that. It ain't really the printers. It ain't really, oh, we need to change the DTF formula, or you need to stop DTF. You need to stop. What need to be addressed is, how do I stop people from inhaling this powder while they're doing it? And one of the things is, you know, having those shakers. But you probably could have some tubing system where that powder can never get airborne. Whew! Ooh! $1 million plan. You attach the tube directly to the powder bag. Big boy, get at me, man. Big boy, that's for you, Big Boy Prince. You get the bag and you attach. You have a connector to the DTF powder bag, and you never have to unseal it. Pour it straight in the machine from that tubing, or you suck it up into the shaker, and that powder is never getting airborne. That's your problem. That's your solution. All right. So don't y'all go crazy, man. You know, a lot of people want to kind of see this thing, and like I say, I mean, you know, Joker say Super Color ain't DTF. I feel like it's DTF. I feel like it's always been DTF. Joker just don't want to say nothing. But I feel like it's a DTF process. I feel like it's polyurethane, thermopolyurethane in there, in that process. And I think if them folks behind the scenes don't have no equipment, and they not wearing no mask and all of that, and in these factories, and somebody, that's where the problem gonna come in. These manufacturing companies that have these folks working around these machines, and these print shops that have people working around these machines, man, you know, you're gonna be liable. You're gonna be liable. You know what I'm saying? One of your employees get cancer, man. That's a heavy lawsuit. That's a heavy lawsuit. So you don't want that to happen. You want to take these precautions, especially if you have employees running these things for you. You know, you can take the risk yourself, but you have to protect your employees and make sure that they wearing it, even if they say they don't want to wear it. You know, because that's a lot of people just don't. Man, I don't want to wear that. But I can't be wearing that thing for 6-7 hours, 8 hours. Man, I don't want to do that. You know, you can't have them working in that area and risk somebody getting harm. You know, it's not just cancer, but any lung condition, anything that you know limits the capabilities of their lungs or the abilities of their lungs can be a major lawsuit. So if you're in that situation and you have people, you know, running the machines for you, y'all better take precaution. You know, I done seen these videos, these shops in there, ain't nobody got on no mask, ain't nobody got on nothing. All right, your Ninja Transfers, your other embroidery shops, your Southeast, your not embroidery, but DTF shops. Nobody is wearing no mask. It is around this stuff. So don't let that testimony from Brother Ernest go in vain, man. You know, that kind of information can save lives, and so it's to be taken serious. All right, I yield with that, man. Just wanted to give y'all that, but understand now, you know, yeah, that mask stuff was out here in the beginning that you should wear it, but it came from people. Initially, people took it as jokers is trying to hate on the product. You know, jokers is trying to hate. Jokers just want us to buy Super Color. And like, look at these. That's how I was looking. Like, man, look at this Joker. You know, Joker opened up the, I wish he'd show that video. Joker opened up that door and heat press, smelled that. Man, you smell that, man? Them chemicals gonna kill you, man. Man. And I done smelled that stuff with them Super Color transfers too, man. So, I done smelled it with vinyl. You know, all of it got a little, it's chemicals, man. All right? It's an adhesive. It's glue. Okay? You can't sniff glue. It's dangerous in sniffing glue. It's dangerous to sniff that, what's that, E600 or whatever, that E6000. You know, I work a lot with that, and you know, sometimes I probably need to wear a mask dealing with that, man, because I smell the chemicals. You know, but that's just what it is. If you working around a lot of bleach and sanitation products, you might need to wear a mask sometimes because you inhaling that stuff, and it could be rough on the lungs. But I ain't gonna keep going on and on about it. Just take the precautions. All my printers, take the precautions, and we'll see y'all on the next one.